Hey, I have a Discord server, it's called the Wavix House, it's really stupid, you should probably join. Also, an announcement, if you're going to send a Wavix challenge, please send a verification video. I'm getting a bunch of IDs and I don't trust them. So recently, SpaceUK, who you might know for verifying Slaughterhouse and completing the entire main list, quit Geometry Dash entirely. This obviously shocked the Geometry Dash community, until less than 24 hours later, he backpedaled pretty hard, but since he can't really get his Point and Create account back for a while, he kinda played himself. So today I will be going over what happened, my thoughts on it, and how this could affect the demon list in the community in general, and who could replace him a little bit. So SpaceUK originally privated all of his videos and got rid of his Point and Create account. Less than 24 hours later, SpaceUK made all of his videos public again and released the following statement on Twitter. I had probably one of the worst day in the last 2 years, I won't get into it. Unlisting everything was stupid, so I made it public again since a lot of people didn't like me doing that. I don't plan to grind any more GD as I haven't done anything with the game really in the last month. So instead of completely disappearing, SpaceUK decided to instead keep the videos public and not grind the game anymore. We've seen similar situations before with top players quitting, people like Trusta and Riot quitting but coming back years later, along with N-Swish more recently, and a few months ago, Diamond, the verifier Scoop and Circles, deciding to stop grinding the game, just casually beat VSC. I swear, I'm stuck here on Cataclysm, bro. So I think for the time being this is permanent. SpaceUK hasn't done much with the game since beating the entire main list, and his Point and Create account still won't be back for 2 weeks. But I can see him coming back to the game in a few months and beating AOD or Silent Clubstep randomly out of nowhere. He may play the game casually, but it makes sense that he has achieved what he wanted to do, and unless he picks up creating, he's probably done. My general thoughts on this are that SpaceUK did the right thing bringing back his videos to be listed as public again. While it was entirely his choice to private everything on his channel, I don't think it was a good decision, considering that kind of leaves the entire community screwed because the verification video for Slaughterhouse and countless other achievements have almost no proof of ever happening at all. I would say unlisting all of them and putting them in a playlist would make much more sense, but then again leaving them public would still make him some ad revenue, so free money I guess. I think this is going to happen sooner or later since he has quit the game 6 times already. And while this time it seems to be more permanent, he could legit just come back and beat AOD or something in 3 days in 6 months. This guy is a complete troll sometimes. So obviously Slaughterhouse isn't top 1 anymore, but I think it's possible AOD will be placed below it just because that just happens for some reason. So how does this affect the demon list? If SpaceUK can bring his account back to Point and Create, I guess obviously his records would be back, but someone will probably catch up to him at some point unless he, actually continues playing the game and become the next top player. The meme about Slaughterhouse being harder than everything else may continue with AOD because Zoink says it's easier than Slaughterhouse, and considering he's pretty close to beating Abyss of Darkness, I could actually see that happening. Which means I'll get a bunch of comments on my AOD videos saying it's not top 1 anymore even though the upload date was in April. But Acheron and Silent Clubstep are close to verification as well, so either one could become the next top 1 without worrying about getting swapped with Slaughterhouse whenever SpaceUK beats it. Meanwhile, Trick will verify the Apocalyptic Trilogy, Poltergeist will verify Edge of Destiny, and Beatgram will verify Limbo, so the list will get some nice cool levels in the top 10. It is possible that if AOD is continued to be top 1 and above Slaughterhouse that Silent Clubstep will be considered easier, but I doubt that that's actually true. My personal prediction is that Acheron will be verified and placed as either top 1 or 2, followed by Silent Clubstep 1.8 version, because for some reason the verifiers don't want to do the redeco. If there's one thing that's worse than having a hell level for a top 1, it's having an ugly 1.8 demon as a top 1. So, with all that being said, who could possibly replace SpaceUK? This is obviously just speculation, there's no way I can actually predict this. Right now, Wolves is number 1 in the stats viewer. I'm kind of mostly talking about just top 1 in the eyes of the community, less so what actually happens on Point and Create. So we're basically talking you have your own top 1, you've beaten a bunch of levels in the top 10, people will consider you top player. So we have a few candidates, but again, this is all just speculation. The first is Zoink, who has both Scoop and Circles and Slaughterhouse completed, with most likely AOD on the way, and he's possibly about to verify Acheron, so he could have his own top 1 verified while also having the entire top 5 if he then beat Firework. Next is Cursed, who already has the top 10 and his own top 1 with Abyss of Darkness, and could have another with Eternal Night whenever he verifies that. He's basically the top player at this point, even if the stats viewer doesn't really show it because he has less list points. Technically, Wolves is the top player for now. And the next player I will mention might be a bit of a surprise to you. That player is Nepesta.
Where did that come from?
just recently beat Zodiac and has become the first victor of the infamous Extreme Demon Roulette, which I'm sure all of you probably know by now. And with Return Zero, Nepesta will most likely have his own top 1 in the future. I mean, Return Zero is 17 minutes long, there's a lot of difficulty that you can shove into a 17-minute level. So it is possible he could decide to beat other extremes in the top 10, because I think he underestimates himself in terms of skill, although Slaughterhouse and Sakupin Circles would probably just burn his eyes out, so maybe not those two. It is also possible that he just goes the Noble Boy route, just verifies a new top 1, which in this case would be Return Zero, and then just kinda leaves. Back to the top players thing, just always leaving. Noble Boy just like dipped. Is he like in college now or something? There is also another player, Trick. Although he doesn't really actually beat in everything, he usually gets decent progress in a lot of levels. Out of all these, I can't say which is most likely, although maybe in the future I will theorize in another video if that's something you guys would be interested in. Just in more depth, definitely farther into the future. One last thing, will Slaughterhouse and Abyss of Darkness end up getting swapped? So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, considering that if Zoink beats Abyss of Darkness and says it's easier than Slaughterhouse, technically he's one of 2 people who has beaten both, the other being Cursed. So if Cursed says that Abyss of Darkness is harder than Slaughterhouse, then I have no idea what's going to happen, because there's just one opinion for either one being top 1, and I think most likely that will mean that Abyss of Darkness will just stay in the place that it is. If Cursed agrees that Slaughterhouse is harder, then Abyss of Darkness will end up just getting placed at number 2, which would probably be one of the funniest things ever. Personally, I hope Acheron gets verified before any of that happens, because can we just shut up about which level's top 1? I mean, that's why I like Return Zero and Eternal Night being on the horizon, because both of those are a lot harder than everything else that's currently in the top 3, so people would just shut up about which one's top 1. I don't know, comment down below which one you think is harder. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. As I said, there is a Discord server that I set up, so link in the description. You can ask me questions, you can get mad at me for my Aquamarine video or something. I'm also streaming a lot right here on this channel. I'm actually really close to beating Cataclysm, so if you guys want to tune in, I'm usually live. So we're talking maybe like roughly somewhere from 2 to 4 p.m. EST. So if you like the video, then like the video, dislike it if you disliked it. And yeah, subscribe to my channel so I can get out of $400,000 in debt. And I'll see you guys in the next one.